Okay, so we're gonna build this back up. And we're gonna go like this across. I think the cab is gonna be right around here. So about the halfway point. Again, please ignore my proportions. All right, we're gonna have the front of that cab step right around here. And then I'm gonna build up the cab over this way. Like that. Okay, so this works. I think this is gonna work. It's approximately the right size. And again, this is all watercolor pencil, so I'm not super worried about if I make too many mistakes, I can blend it out. Make that a little bit taller, actually. And we're gonna cut this across here. Into the sea, lullaby. And then we're gonna cut this across this way where the handle to the door is. Again, just illustrate right over the crack. It's totally fine. On Mr. Brightside. To about there. I'm gonna go in with yellow for the headlight, though I don't suppose it matters that much. I mean, I'm getting kind of into the weeds on that. And then I'm gonna, in this back part, let me finish the top of this. I'm gonna build up some pumpkins just so that we can feel the fall spirit in the back of this truck, because that's what our van looked like. We were loaded with pumpkins. I'm just gonna do some round shapes. I'm not gonna worry about all the details yet. Hi, Ames. Maybe we'll have the stem over here hanging off the edge, like right in that area. I just now let me go. Let's do a big one up here. Like, you know, those big pumpkins. You know what I'm saying? Like those big wonky pumpkins. We'll do one here, kind of tucked behind. And then we'll do another one over this way. To the sea. Lullabies. And then we'll have one kind of tucked in back there. That one looks like it's going to fall right out of that. That's okay. It's calling me. Open up my eager eyes. I'm Mr. Brightside. Okay. So these are all going to be pumpkins. We can put the stems in different spots. Thanks for the lightning bolts. I appreciate it. I'm just going to go wrap around that. We'll have a stem here. I know they look like apples. I promise they will look like pumpkins. Let's have a stem. This seems kind of like an obvious spot here. We'll do a stem coming off the end here. And then, I don't know what my cat is knocking over, but I keep hearing things that don't sound good. Okay. And then maybe we'll have a stem stick up this way. Okay. So these are all pumpkins in the back of a truck. I just sketched it out in watercolor pencil. Honestly, I don't know that the brand matters. Oh, thanks, Ames. Thanks for joining my fan club. Fall Spirit, 100%. And then maybe we'll put something in the truck. Thinking. I have some ideas, but let's paint in this truck and see how that goes. Okay. So the brush set that I'm going to be using is my Meeden brush set. Everything that I'm using today should be in my shop, and if it's not, I will very clearly identify for you what is not. The paints I am using today are my Meeden set here, which I love and haven't used in what feels like forever. And I'm just going to start by adding water where I put the watercolor pencil. It will blend. Watercolor pencil is not super duper pigmented in most cases. It will blend out in a very nice transparent way. But generally speaking, it will need a bit more pigment. So usually what I do is I go in and I add a little more pigment on top of the water and play over the top. The goal of using the watercolor pencil is so that you don't see the, what do you call it? The graphite underneath your painting when you're done, because it's watercolor pencil. So you're just going to see the colors and the tones that you intentionally put on the page. I know some people are a bit more methodical about this than I am, but I do love it. My water bowl. Oh, my Mackenzie, what is it, Mackenzie Childs? Yeah, it was a gift given to me on my 30th birthday, which was ages ago now. And I didn't know what it was. I was like, oh, thank you. And it sat on a shelf for a long time because I'm like, well, this is apparently really nice and I don't know what to do with it. And now it's getting all sorts of love in my art, though I was really mad this summer. Do you see this like ring around the sides? So my kids took it and they decided to use it outside for some sort of painting adventure that they had, and totally didn't clean it out. Like I was just like this is all like acrylic rings in here, and I'm so annoyed by it because it just doesn't look as pretty as it used to. But whatever, it's getting love, right? It's getting love. All right, I'm just going to keep going in and around. This is a flat wash brush. I will create a grate here as well in the front of this truck. I'm just going to kind of pull this down and around and just pull, pull, pull from all the pigment that's on the page. It does look loved on. It certainly does. It certainly does look loved on. Okay. So right now I'm really vibing with this truck. I think the truck is good. Again, how accurate it is proportionally, I don't really care. You got to kind of let that go at some point. If you're a new watercolor artist, it does not need to be perfect. It does not. Don't let yourself get caught up in making things look exactly like they look in real life. There are other people in the world that can do that for you. And if you're here checking me out, I doubt that you are the person that needs it to be that way. I like to make art accessible to anyone who wants to try. That is my ultimate goal. It's really hard. It's really hard. And I think, Ames, I think for me, mixed media helped a lot with that. And abstract art helped a lot with that. Because abstract art, I mean, it's about feeling. And it's about some of the color rules, like knowing your colors and what mixes well together. And knowing certain composition rules. But really, they're there as guidelines that can be broken, you know? And so I think at some point I started to realize I can cover up some of the mistakes that I don't like and maybe enhance some of the mistakes that I'm not sure about that maybe I can make look better, you know? Okay, so we're going to leave that alone. I'm going to go in and do these pumpkins, thinking of doing them in different colors. So let's go in with this just regular orange. And you can use a round brush here. I like mixing up my brushes from time to time just to give myself practice using all the different ones. And there are certain sets that come with lots of different shape brushes. This one does a really good job with that. Yeah, I think it's good to do that with the acrylic pour sometimes. I used to do art with, not the pour art, but the, like the super watery acrylics. And you would have like, you would just squirt it all over the canvas and you would move it around and do all sorts of cool stuff with it. I think that can be really fun too. The only problem I have with acrylics is the layering is fun in theory, but I have a hard time walking away from something unfinished. I like leaving my desk knowing I finished a piece. And I know that's not realistic, but it's what I need. I have enough stuff to do that I don't want to like be stressed out about something I did not finish over on my art desk, you know? All right, so this little bleed is totally fun. That's fine. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal that the orange pumpkin bled into that a little bit. All right, I'm going to go in to maybe this orange pumpkin with maybe a bit more of a fluorescent orange, because why not? Let's check. Let's see what happens if I do that. So that's a bit more vibrant, obviously. And if I want to, I can always like wet on wet technique other colors in here to do interesting things. But if I'm going to put it up here, I should probably tuck it into a couple other spots, or even add it to the other pumpkins I've already laid down to give them some interest. I like to generally go in 3 colors of the same tone. So if I'm going in orange once, I have 3 different types of orange that I'm kind of playing with. I do want to do some greens in here too. So let me add a little bit of green in here and in there and over here and just let it spread. And yeah, I think just changing the brain chemistry is important too. I think you're right, Ames. Like I've been doing a lot more stuff with like acrylic markers lately and adding them onto my art where I was not doing that before at all. So that's just been a really interesting way to kind of change up how my brain works, you know? All right, let's go in with a little bit of yellow here. And again, if things touch, it's fine. We're going to sharpen a lot of this up with mixed media. And let's go in with, I like that yellow, but I think I want that yellow to kind of stand on its own without too much else. So I'm going to put a little bit of yellow there. And then I think we'll do another, like maybe a peachy orange back in this corner. And if all of these blend together, totally fine. Because again, you can go over this with another layer and play with the shapes and everything that's already on here. Okay. So we've got all those pumpkins kind of hanging out back there. I'm leaving that a little open so I can go in with some greens and browns. Let us check here. This is, doesn't it? It gives it a rusty vibe for sure. I agree. I'm not sure why they filtered your comment on that one, Ames. I'm not sure why. That's silly. Okay. So let's do the tires a little bit. I'm debating about whether or not I'm going to darken that in back there or if I'm going to leave it. Maybe I will darken that in just a little bit, but maybe not with the flathead. I want a bit more control. And the flatheads are fun, but when I'm going in with detail, I definitely want a smaller sized brush. Let's see what I got. This one will be pretty good. This one is a size 3. And for those of you who are starting off and want to know what to buy, like what's the best kind of things to buy with regards to brushes, I would just say affordable. Affordable with a collection of heads to pick from. I like the idea of people not just sticking to one type of brush. I know round brushes are an easy brush for people to like start off with, but I think it's good to learn with a lot of different brush heads because you might be surprised what you end up liking. Like my favorite brush head is a dagger brush. And even though I'm not using it here, I love them so much. They're my favorite. I feel like they helped me find my style. And I think they can do that for a lot of people if people give it a chance, you know? It's like how certain mediums help you find your style. I think brushes can do the same thing. Let's see here. Thanks for the tappy taps. I appreciate it. Okay, so that there, I kind of still like it. I'm going to leave that alone because it's still a little wet. And then I'm going to come in here with a darker, I might go with a darker gray blue here. I'm going to mix over here and try not to spill anything. Okay, so I've been using this blue tone over here. And I'm going to add it to this. And then I'm going to add some water and gray to it to darken it up to give it more of a steel blue color. It's a little dirty, right? That's totally fine because I'm going in behind this wheel, which that makes sense that it would be still kind of blue, but a little bit dirtier. So all I did was add a little bit of gray from this palette and even a little bit of orange. And I'm just using it to kind of go in the back here. And I might even use that tone up here for the grates. Like that. On the front, I might even use it for the bumper. It would make sense. Hi, Heidi. How are you, friend? Let's use it for this too. And then I can also use it for this handle as well. And I can use it to make details around, this needs to be, I want that to be blended out a little bit more. So I'm just going to add water and blend that out. And I want to darken up the bottom there underneath that little handle. And I definitely want to darken down here around these spots. You can leave light spots in the truck. That's kind of a cool thing to look at, but you also want to leave some darkness. You want to create some texture. So like closer to the bottom of things, you're going to see a bit more darkness because it's farther away from the light. Wherever you see potentially shadows happening is where you're going to see a bit of darkness here for sure. But I don't want to go too much because I have all of that really pretty orange bleed in there. So I'll move it around a little bit, but I don't want to do too much there. Maybe a little bit more here. I forgot to give it its rear backlights. And thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. Let's go in. I'm going to do the backlights in a minute. Let me go in and do the tires right now. Now, some people are fans of mixing their black. I do that sometimes. I don't do it all the time. And on this Meeden palette, you don't have to do that. And if you want to really go in and create a really fun hubcap here, you can. Now I'm going to be a little careful here because I definitely have, this is still wet up here. So if I touch it to that paint, it could start to bleed. Do you see that bleed a little bit in there? It's not significant, but it could be if it's real wet. Okay, I'll do this over here too. This Thursday, I believe it's 7. I have to do this. After I'm done with you guys, I'm going to start painting. Well, actually, I'm going to make dinner first, but I'm going to paint some haunted cocktails. We're doing a happy hour, haunted happy hour on Thursday this week. Chelsea and I are doing that on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So see how blended all of this is together? It's totally fine. It's not a big deal. It looks like a mess. It is a mess, but it's totally, totally fine. Okay? I'm not even worried about it right now. I will come back and I will pick up some structure back into that in a minute. I also have the option of making this very much a like closed or open window. I think I'm going to leave it open, but I think I'm going to put a little creature in here by the end of this. Okay. All right. So let me think. I'm going to come in here. How dry is this? These are all pretty dry. Let me go in and do the stems, and then we'll build up some layers on those pumpkins. See that bleed? That's because it's still wet, and that's okay. And I will sharpen that up later. Let's keep going here. Give that one a little curly top. There's definitely one here too. We'll work on that little one in there. So this morning, as I was going to work, it finally started to feel like fall. It was, the sky was dark and ready to storm. And as I was stopping to get my coffee, there was a huge double rainbow. And I could not have been happier. It just completely made my day. All right, I know this looks messy. It looks messy, but it'll be fine. I'm going to dry this with my heat gun. And then we're gonna build up some of those standard bumpies that we all love so much. on the pumpkins. Thanks, Giota. And this is all freehand. I don't have an image in front of me. I have this really wonky truck that I tried to make. This looks better, in my opinion. But that's okay. Like, you can do things freehand and know that you're not going to necessarily make something perfect. Okay, so I'm going to come in here, and actually what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go in with a pencil to structure some of these pumpkins so I know where to shade in. And then this is what brings the structure back for me. And you see it already, right? Like, you can see those pumpkins starting to pop. They don't look as sloppy anymore. Once I start to put this in with the pencil, and then I can go in again with watercolor pencil or watercolor brushes and paint and build up some of the shadows in those areas as well. So I think here, we're going to make this the butt of the pumpkin. I'm not going to worry too much about that. We'll leave that there. We'll build up some curves and corners here. This guy's going to come out this way. Yeah, they're going really well together. I think so too, show and tail. Okay, so pumpkins are now structured. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in with a smaller, well, is this really a smaller brush? Hold on. It's not really that small. I might have to go in with my Goldens, actually. So let me unpin these brushes. And I'm going to move some of this stuff out of the way. Here. Particularly the Meeden brushes, because they're not small enough for what I need for this little detail. I mean, I could use this, but it's going to get a little sloppier than I want. So I don't mind the sloppy on the first layer, but I want it to be a little bit more clean on the second and third. So let me show you. What did I just do with it? I just picked it up. Okay. So these are my Golden Maple brushes. These are my detail brushes. I use them for moments like these where I want to create shadow in smaller illustrations, and they're really lovely. I will say they're not great for lifting paint, but they're great for putting paint down. So you can see all the little teeny tiny shapes. They have some cat's tongue brushes. They've got some little teeny tiny ones. This one needs to be cleaned. We've got some long liner brushes. And then we also have some filbert style brushes and some dagger style brushes. I think what I'm going to use right now is going to be, I'm going to use this cat's tongue brush, I think. Okay. Let's see here. I'm going to come in here first with just the wet and to try and blend out some of this watercolor right away to soften up those lines. So I'm just running my paintbrush over those spaces. And some watercolor pencil does this better than others because some is more pigmented than others, but I don't think it really matters. I think you can go in on any of these with water and then add paint to it if you want it to be something else. So I'm just painting over the lines, softening up the structure a little, but still keeping it in place. And now I'm going to go in with probably a brownish tone. I'm going to start here and here. It's going to spread a little bit. I'm just going to move it around. Just even it out, blend it out. You don't want to go in super heavy with your paint or your water on this part because you're trying to focus on the detail and the structure. You want the pumpkins that are tucked in to have a little bit of shadow. And if you go in too heavy with your paint, you can always lift it out or water it out. But you're starting to see a buildup of shadow here. Really, Giota? I love that. I love that this is it. I love it. I love it. Okay, this is definitely going to need a bit of shadow here because this pumpkin is not the same as that pumpkin. And you can do this pumpkin part as detailed or as simple as you like. Let's move some of this paint here under here. We're going to move this brown around a little bit more. And then I will definitely go in again with black at the end. I am just kind of switching up my oranges as I go in here. So like there's a hit of that more standard cadmium orange. And then I'll go in with a bit of a brown, or I'll go in with a bit of yellow. I just kind of go back and forth, testing and trying things out. I still have that fluorescent in there. Let's see if I can put it back in. I do want to blend some of this out though. And don't feel like you need to repaint everything you already painted. Like I'm going to leave a little bit of white right up in there. And then you can pick up paint from certain spots and move it around. You don't have to dip it into your paint pan. I'm going to darken that part up because that looks like shadows in there. I'm not entirely sure what's back there. There we go. Okay, and here. Oh, my nose is so itchy. Back this up here a little bit so I can see comments. Oh, I love that, Giota. I love that she loves a blue truck. Thank you so much, Anonymous. Okay. So I'm going to leave the pumpkins alone, I think, for a minute. I want to add just a little bit of orange, more orange to this guy. Just a little bit. Just soft, blended. Okay. And then, yeah, definitely down here too. I don't want that so yellow down here. So I'm definitely going to blend that out a little bit more. Okay. And then a bit more orange over here. Oh, that's got a drip to it. I don't want so much water. There we go. There we go. That feels a little bit better. Or a little bit more interesting. I do have to move my clip though. And then I do believe Alexis is going live tonight. I think she's doing spiders. So that'll be fun. Okay. So I do want to cover up this. This is still kind of that cool rusted look, but I don't want the whole thing to look like that. I want it to be a little sharper than that. So I'm going to come up here with this same brush and build the top up just a little bit back and then add water. So the color tone is still there. It's just not as obvious. I'm also going to soften up some of these other spots where the paint looks a little harsh and painterly. It doesn't mean the painterly has to go away entirely, but sometimes I want it to just soften up a little bit. So I'm just kind of going around with water and softening this up. And then I will come back in and sharpen up that truck to have a bit more structure. Californication, dream of Californication. shine. Okay, and then I currently live in Western New York, so Buffalo, Niagara Falls, that's generally where I live. Is that what you're asking, Anonymous? All right, I'm gonna blow dry this out, and then, well, am I though? Am I? Let me do one more thing. I do want to just make this a little bit more even, Steven. Okay. Just a little bit more. Okay. And then blend that out. And then we'll sharpen up some of the details. I'm going to blow dry this, and then we'll add some details to it. Okay. So in the cab of this truck, I think I'm going to do a toad. That's what I was thinking before. I think I still might do a toad. I had my olive green, and I don't know. I think it rolled off my desk, and I'm not entirely sure where that is right now. So I don't want to go in with that green, though. I think I'm going to go in with brown, and then we can build up some green. So we're just going to go ahead and give him some little eyes. And we're just going to do the top of his head. Actually, what I want to do is I want to kind of build that up so you can see his sad face. And then we'll build up his little eyeballs peeking behind the truck of the car. Because how cute is that? I can even potentially put a little paw, not a paw, a little set of fingers there poking out. Little webby paws. And then I can come back in here with my paintbrush and water him out a little bit. Fornication. And then work on his detail a little bit from here. So we'll put this giant toad. He looks little, but he's giant because he's inside the cab of a truck. Behind the window. Again, no one cares about proportions here. We're just doing this for fun. And yeah, they're pretty cute. I like them. All right. Let me go in. I want to use my silver for the hubcaps. So this is a handmade silver paint. There are lots of different options for silver or shimmers or any of that stuff. This one is from Laura Matthews. She has, she makes her own paints, and they're pretty affordable. I've started using them a lot more than I used to. We'll make those hubcaps real shiny. Just understand shimmers are a bit more transparent than paints. So either you got to build them up, or just know that it's going to be your second layer or second or third layer to get them look really, really opaque. Let's add a little bit more shine up here to the grate. We'll do it around the lights. I cannot forget. Don't let me forget to put the rear views on there. I'm going to do that right now before I forget, because I will forget. There we go. Here I am saying, oh, you don't need to do everything. Hi, Cricket. Thank you. I put a little toad inside my truck. He's enormous, but that's okay. That's okay. We don't care about proportions here. We care about fun. Okay. I've got my little shiny hubcaps. Let's put a little bit of shine on the bumpers. Right there. How are you, Cricket? Guys, if you don't know Cricut, Cricut does this amazing, I want to call it yarn art. I know there's a better name for it because my brain is done for the day and I'm a 46-year-old woman in perimenopause and can't remember the words for things. You know, like the rope crocheting, it's not called rope crocheting. It's, God, I'm sure you'll give it to me. Brief break between classes. I love that. But he's an excellent, they are an excellent macrame. Yes. Cricut is an excellent artist. And I love watching them work on all of their different like plant hangers and wall decor. It's all amazing. So you should definitely follow Cricut. Okay, let's blow dry this a little bit and then we're going to go in and sharpen up those pumpkins and the frogs. I love the sparkle. I already love the sparkle. Okay. Let's go in with, I think I'm just going to skip the watercolor pencil at this point and just go with regular, well, let me finish that froggy a little bit more. He needs a little more build up here. Let's give him a little green. Not too much. I want to do kind of a mix of both. So let's see what we can pull off here. And we'll blend out some of that there. We'll go back and add some more green. We'll give him a mixy brown-green vibe, like a mossy vibe. You can see him there. Let's give him some more green. He needs more green. There we go. And then I can polka dot him later. Okay, let's go in with some, I think I'm going to do pencil. Let's just do pencil. It's easier. For today, it's easier. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do something called visual tension. So visual tension is when you add lines. You don't need to fully illustrate and outline everything. You add just enough to show the shape and also make sure to do it in the corners and connections. So like here, this is the door. So I definitely want a line there, but I don't need to go all the way to the top. Even here, corner, don't need to fill this whole line in. I'm just gonna go to the top, corner. It's to strengthen some of the visual structure of this piece without feeling like, I always felt like whenever I outlined something, I lost the interest in the piece. I need this to zoom out a little bit. There we go. And I just like it better when I only outline some things. So I'm going to go in here, like right there, right at that connection spot. And then right here, I'm also going to go around the outside of this tire well. I'm going to do some of the tire. I'm going to do it here. And then up here where the handle is, we're going to definitely sharpen that up so that everybody can see it. We're also going to make a line right here that kind of cuts across over this way. And then over here as well. So is everyone kind of seeing what I'm doing here? Just hitting up some of those lines, not all of them. Cricut, what did they do? How was, you weren't? That's okay. No problem. I didn't even know. So, all right. And as you can see, I'm just going in and I'm sharpening up the structure of the piece. So remember when I started, if you've been here since the beginning, these pumpkins were a globby watercolor mess. And now they're starting to come back together because that watery glob now has structure with the pencil. You could do this with ink. I generally prefer doing it with the pencil, but I do sometimes like using ink. I have some shuttle art. I'm going to actually close this out because I'm not using the pens or the brushes anymore. I do like using like nothing greater than 0.7 pens, but I do like using them. Okay, so I'm just going to do the Funto watercolor workbooks because they're so fun. All right, we're going to do this here. We're going to build out. You're really going to see the visual tension on these pumpkins because you can see I'm not outlining everything. I might put my pencil on a curve, but that's about it. I don't blame you, Cricut. I don't blame you at all. I totally get it. I'm gonna structure up this part here, the stem. I'm just gonna curl that in like that, so you can see kind of where it's jutting out. And then in this corner here where it got a little muddy, I'm just bringing that back, reminding you of the wall of that truck. For here, pulling that down here and this up. And don't worry, guys, I haven't forgotten about our toad. In the middle of the run, everything will be just fine. Everything will be all right. And then once again, guys, I will be on live Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Chelsea and I are doing a haunted happy hour where we're going to be painting cocktails and or boba tea and or warm fall cozy drinks for our live, for our tutorial. I'm not sure what she's teaching me. We're going to teach each other. Like, that's what we do. And if people want to come and join and paint along with us, we love that. Look how cool those pumpkins look now. This one's so ready to fall off. Hi, Alexis. Oh, bye, Cricket. Good luck. Okay, I'll check it out, or I will try to. I'm Eastern Standard Time, so my time is a little bit different, I'm imagining, since you're over, I'm guessing you're in Oregon. Is that what I remember? I'm going to sharpen this up, and I'm going to go in on that froggy. All right. Let us give this guy one of those wide eyes, like that. And then we're going to sharpen up his little mouth. We're going to sharpen up his little feet. Okay. And then I'm going to actually do the whole mouth. And then I'm going to just put some little nostrils in here. And then if I wanted to, I could go in and add some more detail. Bye. Hi, Alexis. I could if I wanted to. So I could go in with spots and all that kind of stuff. But I think I'm going to leave him like this. I like him this way, where he's just peeking out. Let's do the grates with a little bit of black structure. And then I'm going to just do this little thing for the tires to give them a 3D vibe a little bit. That didn't work the way I wanted it to, but that's fine. I can also water that out. It looked good on this one, and then it did look good on this one. So I'm just going to go like this. The beauty of working with watercolor pencil. So we're going to pretend that was totally intentional. We're going to blend that out. And then if I want to go back in and try it again, I can. Like maybe I could do it with the back instead of the front. I don't know. I'm going to leave it because I don't want to mess it up again. All right. And then last but not least, I think I'm going to go in with some Jupiter Earth crayons. They are soft pastel-like crayons. I will show them to you. They are fabulous. I love them so much. These right here. So I'm going to actually touch them onto the pumpkins a little bit and then smush them around a little with my fingers. You can also use paint water or paint brushes and water to move them around. But I do like the effect of the dry media over the top. So a little bit here. I'm going to zoom this in so you can see the effect. Like that. It just kind of brightens things up a little bit. And then I would go in and add some darker colors, not just the yellows, but like a darker brown or an orange. This is called mixed media. When you kind of go over the top or over any parts with extra, and then you go like this with your finger and it blends it out to create this cool, do you see that right there? Look how cool that looks. Or in here. And then you can blend up with your finger and it kind of blends out and gives this soft textured vibe, which is really cool. Yes, or a toad. I'm going with toad right now, but you can be whatever you want it to be. The little fingers probably should be painted in, but I don't care right now. It's going to be what it's going to be. I'm going to put some more orange in here in those sections. And then I definitely want some more over here. And then blend with my finger. And you can just kind of see, I'm just kind of going in very loosely, adding some of these bits. And then I'm going to add it to the car too. I'm going to change up the car a little bit with my color tones. I'm going to try this blue. Let's see how that goes. So I'm going to put that blue in there. And let's blend that out with my finger. That's cool. I like that. Let's do it here on the door too. And that. And just blend, blend, blend with your finger. And look how cool that is. I'm going to do it underneath this guy too. And over here. And you can see it's definitely on my finger, but it's not oil. It's just watercolor pastels. Now, not all watercolor pastels do this. These do. They're called silky crayons or gel crayons. They are marketed in lots of different ways. The ones that I'm currently using are called gel crayons. I like this. I think that looks cool. It just gives a pop of color in certain spots and makes it look intentionally a bit more. I mean, there's structure, but it feels a little sloppy and I kind of like it. All right. Let's do a little bit of black on these tires. I'm going to try and cover up that little mistake I made earlier. Like that. Like that. Okay. I would like to give him a bit of a highlight in the eye. I just want to be careful because the last time I did it, it was way too bright and then it looked a little bit off. So I'm going to try and use this watercolor pencil first. You can also use acrylic for this. Yeah, that's not strong enough. I'm going to need an acrylic marker for this, I think. I also use bleed proof white sometimes, but the last time I used the bleed proof white, I was like, that's too much. Here we go. Just a little bit. And then I can also use it on some of the pumpkin and just use my finger to soften that up too. This is a dirty finger though, so I gotta be careful. And he looks, that highlight's pretty bright. I don't know if I wanted it that bright. Let me see if I can go around it a little bit. That feels a little bit better. And then if you want, you can go in and give him some spots. I could see giving him some cutie little pink cheeks. This really light pink is going to be just a teeniest blush. Like that. It's not super obvious. And then I'm going to put some of that in here too, and some of these pumpkins. And it adds some light to the tops a little bit. And then I think I'm done, friends. Just going to add a little bit of a structure to the back rear light. You know what I forgot? I forgot to put the rear view or the side mirror on it. Oh, well, I could always still put it in here, I suppose. And then in that space, I could just like sharpen up the blue around it, like so in here. Like that. So it looks like it's meant to be there, and then you've got your side mirror or whatever. There. It's kind of a side mirror. It's a little low, but that's okay. Yeah, I mean, the white gel pen has its benefits. I've used it sometimes, but I find white gel pen on cold press does not have the same smoothness that sometimes acrylic does. I feel like acrylic handles cold press paper better than white gel pen does. At least that's my experience. All right, I think he's done. Is it done? Let me zoom. Pumpkins in the truck, Toad in the cab. I think this turned out pretty good. Let me give an overhead shot here so we can get some perspective. I think it looks great, considering that was all freehand, and I've never freehanded a truck before. I think that turned out good. I likey. All right, friends. Well, Spontaneous Live turned out pretty good. We've got our fall whimsy still in action. I've got another few posts coming this week with more fall whimsy 60-second-ish tutorials and a couple more just to give you a sneak peek. I'll show you what tomorrow's is. Well, actually, I can show you what I've done so far. Let's do that. So I did this one. This one was earlier this week. Look how pretty that one is. And then, I'm sorry, I'm just going to brag because I love when I'm proud of things. I did this one in a live with the little acorns. Look how cute that is. I love the chalkboards. The chalkboards are such a vibe. And they're not, it's just actually like really dark purple, black paint. This was today's mini tutorial with a little toad guy on top. And then this one was actually how I started those shelves. I don't actually have a tutorial for this one. Well, I do, but it's like 30 minutes and I might just end up putting it on the YT. So we'll see about that one. But this was actually my first harvest inspired painting. But that one I don't have a tutorial for. This one is tomorrow, which I love that one so much. It turned out so good. This one is Thursday. And then this one is going to be Friday. And then, what did I do? Oh, and then we have a couple of bonus ones. We've got this one is going to be Saturday. And then Sunday will probably be this one. So you guys got a sneak peek by being on my lives. Usually in the Sunflower. So Loafing Around Bakery, I post these tutorials. They're like 60-second tutorials on in the mornings every day of the week when I have a series going. So this one will be posting on, tomorrow's Wednesday. This one will be posting on Thursday. And it's going to be a time lapse, so it will move pretty quickly, but I will likely have another live with just some of these things. So like, for instance, me doing the toad today on the truck is meant to kind of lean into the series that I've been doing this week, right? Because I did the toad tutorial today, the mini one with the mushroom manor, okay? So generally I don't, okay, so as far as your question, you asked me when do I usually go live? During the week, it's a bit more spontaneous. I have a full-time job and my kids have me traipsing all over the world. Not really, but they have me traipsing all over my community for various clubs and sports and all that kind of stuff. So Tuesday nights, I'm usually pretty available for lives. Usually Sunday mornings, though this Sunday I ended up working in the afternoon. And, oh, thank you. I appreciate it. And then I will definitely be live Thursday night, but we're doing a haunted happy hour, which is going to be more like fall cocktails and fall drinks. So Chelsea Designs and I are going to be doing that together where we teach each other something. I actually have to paint that tonight. I got to figure out what that's going to be. And yeah, so I hate to, during the summer, I am very active, obviously, because I'm a teacher. I can be more active during the day, but usually you can count on me to be around during this, like, I would say anywhere from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You're not going to find me on here much after 8. I don't love to paint at night, and my kids are getting ready to go to bed, and I just like to chill. So this was from last week. You can see this. Look at my little chicken wings. Aren't they great? I love my chicken wings. These are all the tutorials I've been doing. I did not do this one. This one's cute, though. He's a very shimmery frog, a very sleepy shimmery frog. But these little sketchbooks are fabulous. I love them so much. Oh, I would love that. Look at him. He's so cute. And of course, I have my haunted stuff that I did a couple weeks ago. But just follow me. I will try and post in my stories. This was very spontaneous today because I just didn't know what kind of time I was going to have. Plus, I still have to go and make dinner. So, anyhoodle, I just love you guys being here. I do. Hi, Bird Nerd. Isn't that so cute? Actually, you know what I love about him is that he's got like a brown-green tone to him. Like I was able to get that to work for me. I love that. And I don't know if he's driving this truck, but he's definitely hanging out in it, waiting to go somewhere special. Maybe he wants those pumpkins to be his next manor. He's hoping to carve it out and make it happen so that he doesn't have to live in his mushroom anymore. I don't know. It's hard to know. Maybe he had a flood and he can't live inside it anymore and he's looking for a new home. So maybe that's for the pumpkins. All right, guys, I'm going to scoot. Have a great night. I will see you again soon, I hope. Bye, everyone.